Today we'll be looking at the 2021 coming-of-age psychological thriller film named John and the Hole. The opening scene begins with a young boy named John who his teacher at school is questioning. John has a confused personality and has no self-assurance. He answers the questions accurately but is unsure if they're the correct response. After school, he skates back home and eats dinner with his family. No one in the family converses with one another throughout supper. Afterwards, everyone goes to their respective beds. In the heart of the wilderness, their house looks to be constructed in a contemporary manner. The following day, John plays with his drone in the forest when he spots a sizable, deep hole in the ground. Following this, he resumes playing with his drone until it becomes impaled on a tree. John tries to climb the tree to get his drone, but is unsuccessful in doing so. Additionally, he injures himself in the process. After cleaning himself in a pool, he sneakily consumes some of his mother's medication. Later, they all quietly have their breakfast, but a little while later, Brad, his father, asks John about the drone. In response, John says that he misplaced the drone in the morning. Meanwhile, they hear a horn at the gate, so John's older sister, Lori, dashes outside. Brad inquires about who has arrived, to which Lori responds, "It's Josh." Brad is unaware of Josh, so his wife, Anna, informs him that Josh is Lori's boyfriend. After that, John tells his parents about the large bottomless pit, which they refer to as a bunker. When John inquires about it, his parents respond that a bunker is a structure built to protect from powerful storms and other unfavorable events. They also tell him that the landowner constructed the bunker he saw roughly 5 years ago. When John continues to pose odd questions, Brad inquires about John's well-being, to which John replies that he's exhausted. Following this, John gets home from his tennis practice and begins playing with a tennis ball. Shortly after, Lori approaches him and tells him to stop making the noise since it's bothersome. John, though, keeps on playing while also posing odd queries to Lori. Lori becomes enraged by this and snatches the ball, but she quickly gives it back when she sees his innocent expression. The next day, John approaches their gardener named Charles and inquires about what he's doing. Charles responds that he's weeding. Once more, John tries to probe him oddly, but Charles answers all of his questions. At that moment, John informs Charles that he has a spider on his back. The spider bites Charles when he tries to grab it. John then asks if he loves the lemonade, and Charles responds in the affirmative. As a result, John returns inside to grab some more lemonade, but he also mixes some drugs into it, causing Charles to collapse unconscious. John slowly approaches Charles and places some cash in his pocket. After dinner, each family member goes to bed following their regular schedule. At midnight, John gives his father a drug, rendering him unconscious. He then places his father on a cement cart and carries him into the wilderness. In the following scene, we're introduced to the girl named Lily, who lives with her mother, Gloria. Lily shares with her mother about her dream in which she's floating in a blue balloon filled with blue air in a blue sky and was invisible to everyone because she was also blue. Gloria changes the subject by mentioning that her father drives a blue automobile. Lily then questions whether her father will return, to which Gloria responds, "Of course." However, Gloria is unaware of her husband's whereabouts or the anticipated return time. She then reads Lily a bedtime story called John and the Hole before putting her to sleep. The following morning, Lori wakes up to discover herself in a bunker. She also observes her parents dozing off next to her. She panics and rushes to wake her parents. All three of them wake up, but they have no idea how they got there. In the meantime, John, who's at home, picks up his mother's phone and calls Charles in his mother's voice. He tells Charles that he no longer needs to come over for gardening. John pretends that Brad has a heart condition and the doctors have recommended him to rest, so he'll do the gardening, being at home. John then takes out his father's car and drives to the ATM, where he uses the family's bank account to withdraw some cash. With the money, he purchases some junk food and moves back home. A short while later, Anna's friend Paula comes to pick her up for catering, but John pretends that his grandfather is in the hospital with a congenital heart defect and everyone is left for the same. He also fakes that he's left at home just because he must attend his practice. After hearing this, Paula becomes concerned, and before heading back, she requests that he call her if he needs any help. Following this, John takes some food and drink with him to the bunker. As soon as John's parents and sister see John, They ask him if he's okay and whether he saw anyone doing this. Brad again asks John to bring the ladder or phone 911 for help, but he remains silent throughout the conversation. After some time, Lori learns that John is the culprit, so she tells her parents, but Anna shuts her up because she fears he won't be ready to assist them in getting out. After that, John throws food and a bottle of water inside the bunker before leaving. After returning home, John brings a large monitor from his parents' room and starts playing the video game. In the bunker, the three of them desperately attempt to escape the bunker, but their efforts are ineffective. Eventually, they begin to starve, leaving them with no choice but to consume the food John provides. Meanwhile, John appears unaffected by anything as he plays the piano at home. The following morning, John heads toward the bunker and throws some bedding and clothing inside. Lori attempts to speak with him, but he ignores her and goes away. After that, John drives his dad's car to pick up his friend Peter. On the way home, Peter inquires about the health of John's grandfather, but John responds coldly. Once they're back home, both play in the pool. Peter has heard that they can see Jesus' mother if they drown in the water, so they too attempt to do likewise. Following that, they begin having fun playing video games together. In the bunker, Anna talks about a time when John questioned her strangely about things like, how does it feel to be an adult? And why are people allergic to nuts even though it's natural? Anna claims she was at a loss for words and decided to educate the boy about his responsibilities. It's revealed that John is psychologically unstable and wants to stay away from his parents just like the adults do. Now that he's liberated from everything, John has no one to restrict his actions. The following day, John drops Peter off in the car, and on their way, John makes a stop at an ATM. He takes out additional cash and hands it to his friend, saying he can spend it on whatever he wants. Peter is taken aback by receiving that huge amount of money, and when John asks him what he plans to buy with the money, Peter responds, nothing. John then realizes that money is not necessary for a happy life. Following this, John goes back home and discovers Paula there. When she asks if he needs anything, he says he wants her to stay with him for a while. When John inquires about her age, Paula declines to respond. Paula believes there's some problem, so she contacts Anna but can hear the phone ringing in the background. John promptly covers that his mother left her phone in a hurry. John then comes closer to her and starts acting strangely, so she walks away. In the following scenario, Gloria abruptly decides to depart. She then informs Lily that although she's just 12, she'll be living alone from now onwards. She also tells her that she has money left over to cover her expenses for almost a year. Lily tries her best to persuade her mother to take her along. Lily even gets ready to work for her mother, being her assistant, but Gloria doesn't pay any attention to Lily. As a result, she leaves without thinking about her daughter. On the other hand, Paula visits John's house with the police. John hides inside the house after locking every window and door. When the policeman searches the home and discovers that everything is locked, he adjourns. Following the police officer's departure, John goes for his tennis practice as per his regular routine. While he's practicing tennis, his instructor notices that there's something wrong. He asks John, but John doesn't reveal anything to him. The coach, before departing, instructs him to contact his mother to pay the debt. Meanwhile, the three, Brad, Anna, and Lori, have been in a bunker without food or water for 2.5 days. The family's situation worsens after spending many days in a bunker. The next day, John attempts to drown himself in the pool. At that exact moment, Charles comes and dives into the water to save John, but he discovers that John is unharmed. When Charles inquires about Brad, John replies that he's not yet home. John also offers to pay Charles if he owes him anything, but Charles doesn't, so John sends him on his way. Later, after consulting the instructions on the television, John makes risotto and serves it to his family in the bunker. John also sits on the top of the bunker and joins them for dinner. After dinner, John returns home, but around 1 a.m, he returns to the bunker and sobs while gazing at a family member. Just then, Lori wakes up and sees John. She thanks him for the risotto and also apologizes to him. When John inquires about the apology's reason, Lori responds, "I don't know." The following morning, John shows up with a ladder, with the help of which the three ultimately manage to exit the bunker. As they make their way home, they notice John drowning in the pool. All of them jump into the swimming pool to save him, but they find John to be okay. Later that night, They have their dinner together as usual. No one speaks to John about it because they think it was their fault entirely for John to feel that way. In the final scene, Lily is shown wandering in the forest alone, precisely as John did in the past. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.